pandemic. The meeting will be held via Zoom video conference for participants. Viewers will be able to watch the VA North Rock School District YouTube channel and the North Rock School Board meeting. It is Thursday, October 15th, 2020, and we started promptly at 5:30 p.m. At this time, Ms. Colquitt, do we have any public comments?
Yes, Ms. Massey?
Okay, before Ms. Nelson Massey speaks, the board has a policy 1.14b, citizens involvement. Citizens involvement is necessary in the democratic governance of a school district. School patrons of the North Rock School District are encouraged to make their ideas, wishes known through procedure established for that purpose. A portion of time is always set aside at each board meeting to receive citizens' input. During this established time, individuals or delegations may state their ideas, their concerns, or proposals to the board. Citizens will be heard on any topic rather than the topic appears or does not appear on the agenda. The board shall listen to presentations offered, but is not obligated to respond in any manner whatsoever. The board may consider any proposal submitted at a later time or may take further action, no actions at all. Citizens participants in debate or discussion items is always under consideration by the board, should not be allowed except by special consideration by the president or presiding president. And each person that you may have for public comments, you can only speak for 3 minutes. And if you go beyond that time, you must get the consensus of the board and the limit is 5 minutes. Thank you. Ms. Colquitt, you may proceed with our first speaker.
Ms. Massey? I do not think she is present.
She's not here?
Mr. Staggers said that she has not come on.
She's not on. Okay, we will proceed. The only public speaker that we have is not on, and Mr. Staggers tried to reach her. So at this time, I officially call the board to order. Ms. Colquitt, please call the roll.
Sandy Campbell?
Here.
Liz Fitzhuggins?
Here.
Rochelle Reddish?
Here.
Tracy Steele? Cindy Temple?
Here.
Natalie Malcolm?
Here.
Dorothy Williams?
Here. At this time, thank you. We will have the disposition of minutes of prior meetings. Board members.
Madam President, I so move that we accept the disposition of the minutes from September 28th into the record.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we accept the board member meetings from September the 17th on page 4, September the 28th, page 7. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, none. The motion is carried. At this time, board members and to the community, we have some informational items that BSN/Nike proposal presented by Mr. Gary Davis, the athletic director. And at this time, board members on page 9, page 17, and page 19, you can follow Mr. Davis on his presentation. Thank you. You may proceed, Coach.
Thank you, President Williams, board members, and Dr. McGee. We had a deal with Adidas, and Adidas, because of the pandemic, was not able to fulfill their agreement. BSN has proposed this agreement that is before you tonight, and we think it is a great deal for the district, our athletes, coaches, and community. Some highlights of the proposal: I would let BSN, Clay, I know Angie and Preston are on here. So that information, do you have any questions about the proposal? We'd be glad to answer.
Okay, are you asking questions from the board, Coach Davis?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, uh, I will call the roll. Ms. Campbell, she just stated that she was not familiar with everything, but Ms. Huggins?
How does this compare to the deal that we had with Adidas?
It is basically Adidas on steroids. I guess I could, best way to put it. We have $10,000 automatically in Nike dollars. We will start July 21st with $25,000 in Nike dollars that are just free to the district. Now, we will be becoming a Nike school, which means our part of the agreement is shoes and apparel, uniforms, things like that. We would purchase from Nike now instead of Adidas, which is the same thing we had.
And so how much does it cost to outfit the football team for the season?
Well, the great thing about this deal is the same thing we had with Adidas. They're offering us when we buy when we buy a new set of Nike football uniforms, they're going to give us a set free. So we're actually getting two for the price of one in 6 sports, which will save us quite a bit of money.
Okay, did it answer your question, Mrs. Huggins?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Dr. Redis?
Coach Davis, you said July. So what are we doing between now and July?
Well, if we start this agreement, BSN is they're the largest sporting goods dealer in the world. They have 25 million in Nike inventory that they have. And they also have an inventory of $100 million. We're not just tied to Nike. We'll be able to get other things like Under Armour. I'm getting a lot of feedback. I don't know about you guys. But anyway, they offer a sideline store, which means if you wanted to order a polo, you could order a polo off our sideline store and it would be shipped directly to your house. And there is a rebate for the district on that purchase.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Clay, are you on here?
I certainly am. Yes, sir.
Why don't you explain the deal to the board for us?
Okay. It's going to mirror very similar to what you're doing with Adidas previously. And what we do with Nike is very on the same platform. We come on your campus. It's not just us selling sporting goods to your school. It's more of us wanting to do more with your school, with the student body. We come in and make it a full student experience. We try to come in and help with the branding. And I'm going to allow Angie to speak as well because she does a great job with the branding aspect and the coverage of that. But we try to make it more than just selling sporting goods when we go into our schools. It means more to us when we can go in and set that relationship with each one of the coaches. And it's not just a cookie cutter experience. I think that's what happens. Some of the other companies, they try to just throw the same thing at the schools. When we come in, we try to find out the needs for the schools. We try to find out how we fit better with your school. And it's been a good opportunity for us to come in because we know what North Little Rock stands for. We know the championship base that you have, and we want to partner with that. And at the end of the day, I think all these things that we go into these deals and these programs, it's more about relationship, building the relationship. It is a service model that we're trying to attain to. It's when we come into a school, we want to make sure we're taking care of our customer. And because you are our mouthpiece, we want to know that we're doing a good job. And another good thing I want to talk about is you see the presence we have. Tonight, we do not have the rep that's actually calling on your school that will be calling on your school. He's actually at a ball game tonight. But just know that you will have the support of our entire company if we have this opportunity and it takes off. We want you to know that you will always have somebody that you can speak to, and the communication lines will be always open. Angie, I'll let you speak on behalf of the varsity brand side as well, if you don't mind.
Before she do, Madam President, can I ask Mr. Clay a question?
Absolutely.
You were saying that you cover more than just the sporting gear and all that. So would it be safe to say that like our cafeteria workers, our campus supervisors, they have to wear uniforms as well? Would Nike take care of that?
That is a possibility. We could get your cafeteria workers Nike shirts, but when you talk about an all school deal with a brand, how you want to think about that is when the lights are on. When the sports events happening, we want them to be wearing Nike. I mean, if Nike's going to step up and do this partnership and we're going to come on board, we want that to happen. One thing I want to be clear though is when you become a Nike school, we understand you have a lot of Adidas on your campus today. It does not mean that every sport is having to flip to Nike. It means your next buying cycle is going to go to Nike. So Nike understands that if you win a championship this year in an Adidas uniform, that in no way is going to harm our relationship with Nike and BSN Sports. We understand that's going to be grandfathered in. I don't know many schools, especially in today's time, that's able to go out and buy all new uniforms and all new everything for their athletics. So that is something. And these are the kind of questions we enjoy to try to answer to clear up that, because when you start talking about changing brands, I understand there's a lot to that. It's how it's explained, it's the service, and are you going to be able to transfer into something new? That's what we're trying to make sure we're getting those answers taken care of. So I hope I answered your question.
You did. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
Ms. Temple?
I just had one question. There's not a minimum purchase or anything. This is just whenever we replace, whatever we spend, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. Did you have any other questions, Ms. Temple?
No.
Okay. Ms. Walker?
No questions. Thank you.
So Ms. Williams, can I add in what is additional that we were talking about that we'll be bringing to the campus that really is going to touch all the kids on the campus?
Yes.
In this agreement? Okay, thank you. So, the nice thing is that Clay and I and Preston are all local. I live about 3 miles from the high school. So, I guess that's one of those things. If there's fire, I'm happy to run over, right? So, some things that are in your agreement that we are bringing to North Little Rock High School is in year 1. Varsity Brands is a company that consists of BSN Sports, Varsity Spirit, which you guys currently use for your cheer and dance. And we also have the Herff Jones Company of Achievement and Yearbooks. So when we joined these forces together, we said, look, what can we do to make a difference in kids' lives? So starting off, we know that if kids love to come to school and are proud of where they go, they're more apt to show up, they're more apt to study, they're more apt to stay out of trouble, because spirit drives, the strong brand drives spirit and spirit drives success. So we have a $20,000 product package that we are adding to the agreement to brand your campus. And so, we know that you've got some things currently that say Adidas, so we're more than happy to help you change some of that up to say Nike and BSN, because, we're just so nice that way, right? So we do a $20,000 product package. As Clay mentioned, we also have the Sideline Store. That Sideline Store is 24 hours, 365, 7 days a week. The great thing about the Sideline Store is it gives your students, faculty, alumni the ability any time of the day to go on and place an order. And the great thing is your kids, and we touched on this at our earlier meeting, but your kids, let's say your DECA department or your business department, can help run the store, and they can actually get certified in Google Analytics. A student could go on and say, okay, I want a black Nike sweatshirt or a royal blue one with a North Little Rock, on it. And somebody else might say, okay, well, I want one too, but I can't afford Nike, or I just don't want Nike. Like, I don't want the Nike swoosh on there. So they can get another royal blue sweatshirt that we'll offer on there, decorated exactly the same way, ships to their house. So it certainly alleviates some of the issues with kids feeling left out, because once again, inclusion, a big part of this. We're also offering 4 Pixelot cameras for use for live streaming with the NFSH network from your stadiums. And that's another $10,000 of value. And then we're also giving you Varsity University, which is some learning modules that you can pass along to your staff, your students. You have the ability to get continuing education credits for your teachers if you like. And then perhaps the biggest part that is my favorite is we have a program called Believe in You. And it is a video series that we're in our 3rd full season. There's 9 episodes. It comes with curriculum, and it's a video series. You can check it out at believeinu.com. And the person that's the genius behind that is Kevin Atlas, who is the first Division I athlete to play D1 basketball and professional basketball. He has one arm. So it's an incredible story of overcoming adversity. And in every series, he has people who have also overcome adversity. It's something that you can use in your curriculum, or the kids can just watch. We have a lot of schools that have been using it this year during COVID. And we actually would like to bring Kevin in to speak to your students at the high school level as well. He lives in California. He's an unbelievable speaker. I've heard him speak many times. You can hear a pin drop when he speaks. So once again, we're trying to be more than just an athletic company, and trying to bring more value, and just let you know that we are, it's a partnership. It's all the way around. So we want to give back to the school and let you guys get some value for what you're actually spending.
Okay.
Madam President, may I,
Yes.
please? Let me just interject as well from the standpoint of the district. We've also allowed our district attorney to review the contract and the agreement. So he will finalize that, his review by tomorrow. And then we'll, then we'll move forward to making sure that everything is legitimate.
Okay. Ms. Walker, you were the next board member.
I do have one follow-up if you don't mind. Angie, we'll do this in spurts.
That's right. Okay. Spurt, that's my word, spurts. I go in spurts.
The sideline store, is that going to intervene with our Wildcat store, Gary?
Okay,
No,
Gary,
we can still,
yeah, Gary, you address that, because we talked about that in the meeting.
no, the Wildcat store could still operate there at the stadium. We would probably use some of those Nike dollars to stock that store for people who wanted to just pick it up on that day. But if there's something in the Wildcat store that we didn't have, that's the neat thing about the sideline store, is they can actually make whatever they want in whatever color they want that's available on the sideline store. The coaches or the athletic department, nobody has to handle that money. That is strictly bought by the customer or the fan, and that item is shipped directly to their house. And therefore, it's such an easy process. And BSN and Varsity both are a company that's big enough to handle that. We've tried that before, and it didn't really work, with our last agreement. But trust me, BSN and Nike both are very capable of taking care of all of our needs.
Great, thank you.
Dr. Davis, Coach Davis,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just looking for you. These we got the confidential, the papers that you printed out for us that said confidentiality. This is the company that we're speaking to, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, they got some good prices. And I looked at everything and I agree with you 100%. But let's get an address correct here to you, Miss Angie, to you, Mr. Clay. Anything that's shipped out, make sure you go to the North Rock High School and not to a coach's house.
Yes, ma'am.
It's 2200 Poplar Street. That way Dr. Davis can keep up because this is serious business. Anything that you all have and is provided by this district, it needs to go where it needs, where we house everything. And we need an evaluation, taking the materials that we have. Let's see how many outfits we got. And Mr. Coach Davis is very good. He's been through this twice. And I'm make sure that this time going around the right way. Documentation, we can't hold anybody accountable, Coach Davis, if there's no documentation. And I would like to hold Miss Angie and Mr. Clay accountable to making sure that all shipments are to the North Rock High School. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Okay, and by the way, board members, so that you can understand, Dr. McGee, would you please explain to them that why we do not vote on this?
Yes, our attorney, Jay Beckett, indicated that the board doesn't need to vote. This is just an agreement that we worked out, just like we did with Adidas. He indicated that the board didn't vote on Adidas. However, he will continue to review the agreement to make sure that the district is doesn't be bound to something that's non-binding. So he's going to work on that and finish his review of the agreement and give us feedback by tomorrow.
Okay, any comments from any of the board members? Okay, Ms. Walker.
Coach Davis, would you make sure that the link is on our website so everyone can purchase?
Yes, ma'am. We are waiting to sign the agreement. Once we sign the agreement and we go into this, I can tell you that BSN and Nike are waiting on that. I have actually seen the sideline store with our stuff on it already. They just want us to, we want to do it. We want you guys to know about it. And then we'll have a grand opening announcement. That will actually be attached to our district website. So you can just click on the link and go.
Okay, are there other comments from any board members before we can allow Ms. Angie and Mr. Clay and Coach Davis to dismiss themselves? Are there other questions? Any comments? Again, board members, any questions or comments? We always ask this, Ms. Angie and Mr. Clay, so we don't have to have a meeting after the meeting, and they can always say what they want to say here in the meeting. And that's a good thing that we do. So again, Coach Davis, we're very proud of you for your presentation. We thank Dr. McGee for assisting you in dealing with our lawyer. And again, thank you all. And remember, 2200 Main Street. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Dr. Williams.
Okay. At this time, we have from our executives, we had Ms. Christy Ratliff, and what I want these executive boards to do, you can, in that you'll have these reports, I read them all and I thought they were pretty good, but you tell me one thing or two things that you feel that was most impressive, and Ms. Ratliff, you are number one. I'm giving you two things. Everything on there is good, but to you, as an administrator that you have succeeded in the past 2 months. Okay, Ms. Ratliff, come in, please.
Okay, I didn't expect to do this, but I just in my report you see that we have really beefed up the parent center over there at the ESL, over at the annex for our ESL families. Miss Maria touched on is actually going to start doing some classes and some training for our parents in the community over there. So they'll start meeting over there. They have iPads, they can get on the devices, Chromebooks. They can check their students' grades in eSchool. So I encourage all of you to stop by over there and see it, because we really are proud of it and what we can do with that. And then Ms. Heather Rhodes has been working really hard with our health and wellness, and she is actually getting everything ready for our Fit to Live, which will go along with Red Ribbon Week. So those are two great things. And then all of our budgets in federal were approved. So that's a great thing that's been going on the last month.
Okay, and thank you. And by the way, when we do good things, would you contact Mr. Barnes, student superintendent, to
Yes,
find out? Let's print some things, because they talk about teachers and so much negativity. And the North Rock School District is doing some great things, but we need that line of communications, things that you just said. To me, that's positive. And so, through this process, talk to Dr. McGee and found out, you all can decide. It's newsworthy to me, because put it on the North Rock Facebook, because you see more negativity than you see positive things. And thank you for your report.
I do know, Ms. Williams, that both items from Maria's standpoint with the training and the Parent Center, and then Heather's Fit to Live, all of that did go to Dustin Barnes. And I believe he sent it out. I'm not sure, but it did all go to him.
Okay, then.
It was
Thank
sent
you.
out, Ms. Williams. It was sent out. We'll continue to market those positive things that we're doing. And one of the things at the end of my report tonight, I will talk about that a little bit more, even with Ms. Huggins have on the dyslexia shirt. We're proud that we're going to be excited, acknowledging what's going on, the positive things with that. So we'll talk about that. We'll continue to market those things.
Okay, and thank you, Dr. McGee. Mr. Smith, Director of HR. There he is.
Thank you, Ms. Williams, board members, and Dr. McGee. So in regards to my board report, some of the big highlights, I want to talk about two things. We put some new systems in place in regards to our test model, our teacher excellence support system. And this was actually in conjunction with Ms. Ratliff's office. We put some documentation in place that will allow principals and assistant principals and teachers to kind of be more in tune with one another as far as the expectations and timelines that are presented to everybody. And there'll just be a clear vision about what's expected for the year and the process that unfolds. We also, coupled with that, we put in some documentation to basically hold teachers accountable in regards to the 24 summer PD hours they bring onto their contract. And again, I worked with Ms. Ratliff's office for this as well. The second piece is we have had our first LPPC and CPPC meetings. We have new folks on board on both sides. At least I think we're going to have elections here for the CPPC, but we have new members on the LPPC side. And the CPPC, I think we're going to have some new members as well. And so there's interest on both sides. I think it's going to be a great year. We're going to wait for the new superintendent to come on to address some of the issues that were brought up so we can get some clarity on that. But it's been very collaborative and positive thus far.
Well, thank you. The board members have any questions? Thank you. Very good report. The next person is Ms. Laura Smith, Director of Elementary Education.
Madam President, the members of the board, Ms. Smith, Lori Smith, and Dr. White both are out. They're out on vacation. So some of the positive things that both are doing, and I just kind of sum it up in one big piece that I think would definitely have a immediate impact upon student achievement, and that is trying to align K-12 into what we call high reliability schools model, allowing working with the principals to highlight and create more professional learning communities. That they have trained all of the principals on that, and we're excited about that work. And the principals are diving a lot deeper into their work and where they currently are and where they creating a pathway on where they want to be, which is aligning with our district support plan. So we're excited about that model. We're excited about that effort and that work, and we're going to have upon our new superintendent with Dr. Pileski is here, He and I will continue to dialogue about the next steps and what that's going to look like and to look for us. So we're just excited about that work because we know it's going to take a professional learning community to help improve the student achievement.
Okay. Another thing on that, tell me, Ridge Road has a C, and I didn't realize, I thought it had a D. When did all that happen, Dr. McGee?
Ridge Road, I think they actually were a D. They grew back, I think 2018, 2019, if I'm not mistaken. They grew from the D to the C that year. We didn't test last year, so we don't have any report from there in terms of the letter grades. So they grew the last time we tested, if I'm not mistaken. Some of the board members that was there can probably remember that when we grew. So that's when that happened, Ms. Williams.
And okay, and also in the Dr. White's report, what kind of, you said something very important, Dr. McGee, about the high learning for principals. What is
Yeah,
the
it's
program?
called High Reliability Schools Model. That is with Marzano, who's one of the gurus of education, along with DeFour and their work in creating professional learning communities within the schools that are teaching. It revolves around four different questions, that it revolves that help us do the work, that kind of drives the work. So I'm gonna kind of give you guys those four questions here in just a minute. So the four questions that kind of drive that work and help creating what we call professional learning communities are this right here. What do we want students to learn? How will we know if they have learned it? What will we do if they don't learn it? And what will we do if they already know it? It just kind of help creates that thinking, creating that roadmap with the from the guaranteed and vital curriculum to a safe and secure educational environment and a highly qualified staff. So it's just it's actually just wonderful work, Ms. Williams. I've had a privilege, my previous district implementing that model, and if we continue on this path, you'll see a lot of student growth in the test scores and the reading scores and things of that nature.
Well, Dr. McGee, the reason I'm doing this, so parents and everybody here, there's a lot of good things going on around the North Rock. And I also say something from the elementary director. She had in her report, special education teachers and dyslexia intervenists participating in 3-day Wilson Reading Professional Development. And I thought that was very good since we're celebrating Dyslexia Month. And all students completed the NWEA fall assessments.
Correct.
And all principals have participated in a professional learning community meeting to explore an element of how, same thing you said, how reliable schools.
And one last biggest piece, Ms. Williams, you talked about parents. I'm very proud to announce that our district parent engagement got our district support plan, support plan approved by ADE. That's going to help parents stay involved and stay in line to make sure that we continue they got to be a part of this work of high reliability schools as well. So we're just excited about the work that we're doing. And I also want to publicly thank all of the district administrators, the building level administrators, building level counselors and teachers, and all of the students and the parents and every support staff, every staff that we have that have helped us get off to an outstanding first quarter. We are one of the lowest district in terms of the number of active positive COVID-19 cases. We keep our fingers crossed. Let's not talk about it too much so that we can continue to stay low. We had to make we had to counsel in the classes, close any schools. So we're doing an outstanding job. And I want to publicly thank all of our educators, our staff, and who helped us got us off to a start and helped keep us to that great, wonderful start. And certainly want to thank our students and our parents. So I just want to make that announcement there.
Dr. McGee, Ms. Campbell have a question she wanted to ask you.
Yes, ma'am.
How many kids do we have now?
How many students do we have enrolled now? Is that what I heard you say, Ms. Campbell?
Yes.
Okay, I think it was at 7,989, I think. So, you know, if you remember our ADM from last year, third quarter was 8,000 and 8,017 students. So we're not that far off.
Okay. The next, any
You're muted. You're muted, Dr. Ms. Williams.
we will have Mr. Stone, directors, give us a review of your presentation that you've written up. Power School. Mr. Stone.
Madam President, I don't think he's on.
Okay.
And
He did commend the custodial service for their cleanup, the transportation department, and the maintenance department for doing, you know, an excellent job on the services they're provided. Okay, well, the next person is Mr. Brown, the CFO of Finance. He has a report to bring to us. Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Yes, ma'am. I just want to report from the finance standpoint. I'd like to report we have a great finance team in place. Things have been rolling along seamlessly. We have submitted cycle 9 and closed our fiscal year 20 books. We have submitted cycle 1 and opened our fiscal year 21 budget. We've also, we are working on a banking services transition. As you know, we issued an RFP and we are transitioning to First Security Bank, and that process is underway. We're also preparing for our fiscal year 20 audit. That will begin on November the 2nd, Monday, November 2nd. Our auditing team will be here on site. And we're also preparing at this point for our fiscal year 22 contracts that we'll issue in the spring. We're doing some.
Oh, really? For real?
We're doing some prep work. Yes, Ms. Williams, we are. And we will essentially kick off that. We'll be able to kick off preparing for those contracts when the board approves next year's calendar. And I think Mr. Smith's going to bring that to you sometime in January. So we do. And then I would like to report some positive things that are going on. As you remember, we've been working on the last year and a half installation of time clocks. We've been working on getting a PO process that is paperless in place. And then we wanted our contract issuance and signatures to be paperless. And I'd like to report that all 3 of those programs are up and running. We, as you all know, have successfully issued our contracts the last 2 years and do electronic signatures. We also have implemented our time clock process. We're importing some of our time clock data into the payroll system, and we're eliminating those paper timesheets. So we have a lot of things that are happening. Also, our PO process now is paperless. That's being entered in e-finance and being approved in e-finance. So we have a lot of good things happening on the finance side, and we're preparing for our auditors that'll be here on November the 2nd.
Very good report,
Madam President, before Dr. Reddy's come also, Mr. Brown, we're doing an electronic fundraiser approval system where checks and balances is there. So that is, we're able to keep up with that. And one final thing that I want to brag on, next month is Parent Engagement Month. In November, we'll be here shortly. So help us support and acknowledge and honor our parent engagement.
Okay, very good. All right, Mr.
I just
Brown.
had a quick question.
Yes, I'm sorry, Dr. Redis, go ahead, please.
Mr. Brown, who's the time clocks for? Who is it for? Specific areas like the cafeteria, maintenance? Who's using it?
Yes, we've been implementing different groups at different times. The groups that are using it right now are child nutrition, transportation. I believe there are some crossing guards, lunch aides, and I believe that's mostly the groups that are using it, and we'll be implementing some additional groups as we work out the kinks with all the groups. So we're just doing it in phases.
Okay. Other board members, do you have questions to ask Mr. Brown? I have a question to ask you, Mr. Brown. Some that teachers been asking me, why did we change from paying them every 2 weeks?
The teachers have been paid every 2 weeks. Since I've been in the district, since 2011, they've always been paid semi-monthly, which is the 10th and the 25th. There were a group of employees that were hourly employees were paid every 2 weeks. And the reason that we changed hourly employees from every 2 weeks to semi-monthly was because every 2 weeks generated 26 pays per year, and semi-monthly generates 24. All of our insurance and benefits are scheduled. They come out of e-finance in 24 payments. So the extra 2 payments there had to be non-deduction payments. And so there was an issue there. It was a manual compensation that we had to do for 2 payrolls when that happened. So if you all remember, we swapped from every 2 weeks for hourly to semi-monthly for an efficiency reason. And that was to make the payroll system the same for both teachers and hourly employees, and to make it more efficient, less manual tasks on payroll.
Okay, but I do remember the reason they had to switch because the teachers were switched. That's what happened. But it was before your time. But since
Yes,
that
ma'am.
question has come up, and I think you gave a very good answer to it, but maybe it's something we need to look at. You know, pandemic now has changed everything. People, you know, but anyway, because I remember the license people, they had to go back and have their bills changed and all of that. So it wasn't on your watch, but I thought I would ask the question, and thank you for answering it, okay? Okay, so at this time, we have action. It's on you, Dr. McGee.
Thank you,
Dr.
Madam President.
McGee, when you get to that one business point, explain it, because you know we board members are not allowed to question it.
Okay, so do you want me to just ask for an approval from each one separately?
That'll be fine.
Okay. Well, Madam President and members of the board, first of all, thank you again for allowing me to come before you. We're asking for the monthly financial reports approval, which is is located on page 60 and page 70 of your packet.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I thought we were doing when we did the consent agenda, we were approving A, B, and C.
I know what he did, Dr. McGee. I didn't mean for you to skip,
Okay.
do all 3, just come back and explain that one item. You know,
Okay, good. Madam President, members of the board, I apologize. We're asking for approval for the consent agenda for monthly financial report, business office items, and the check registry right there. Thank you, Madam Parliamentarian.
No problem.
Need a vote, please.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the monthly financial report, business office items, and check registry as presented by Dr. McGee.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we accept the monthly financial report, business office items, and check register. Those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, none. Now, under the business items that were a concern, the question about Crestwood again needed, if you looked at your business item on page 72, it had, it was for Crestwood curriculum for kindergarten, Crestwood for curriculum, and curriculum, 2 things for curriculum, 3 things for curriculum, at a total of 24,000, 2,500. But the thing was, it was not specified what that we were talking about in the curriculum. And so, Dr. McGee, would you just give the board a answer to that?
Yes, that is the curriculum that's from that Whit Wilson and all of the curriculum that was in that back wing that was damaged due to the mold and the water leak. Because all of that mold had gotten on all of it, it was not salvageable. We had to dispose of it. And because it was the curriculum that was going to be used this year, they had to dispose and we had to repurchase that curriculum. So that's what that was for. Brian, did I hit it in a nutshell? Thank you.
Okay, that answers that question because they were concerned about it. And so that is a clarity. And thank you, Dr. McGee, for the answer. At this time, we have employment of personnel by Dr. Jacob Smith.
Thank you again. I bring the employment of personnel section to you guys, both licensed and classified, and I ask that you guys approve that for this board meeting.
Okay, may I have a motion?
Madam President,
Yes.
I so move that we accept the employment personnel and classified.
It's been moved and properly.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we accept the recommendation of employment of personnel on page 165 and 166. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are those opposed? None, so the motion is carried. Thank you. Mr. Brown, the Metro Disaster Specialist invoice from you and Mr. Harold Hatch, the maintenance supervisor. Mr.
Thank you,
Hatch,
Ms.
you
Williams.
can go ahead.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. We're bringing to you the invoice from Metro Disaster Specialist related to the mold cleanup that had to happen at Crestwood. And I've got Mr. Hatch on here to answer any of the technical questions that you all may have. But we are bringing this to you. It's over 100,000, so we're bringing this to you for formal approval. And this will be paid out of the building fund, Fund 3000.
Okay.
If you have any questions, Mr. Hatch is on. He can help.
I'm gonna call the roll for question. Ms. Campbell?
Are they through at Crestwood finally?
I can't hear you, ma'am. Say that again.
Just a second.
She's unmuted now.
Okay. Are they through at Crestwood?
Yes, ma'am. There's only one piece of the puzzle that we've got to finish, and that is putting a new roof on. And I checked this morning, they are about 50% done with the new roof.
I saw that they were up there this morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Huggins?
Was any of this covered by insurance?
I'll answer that. We did file with insurance. There was an adjuster that came out and looked at that. They determined that it was excluded. This particular damage was excluded because it was mold. Mr. Hatch and I have discussed. He's got an engineering firm working on a report. We're going to have that report reviewed by our attorney and pursue this legally. But the insurance determination at this point was it's excluded. Mr. Hatch and I are under the, it's our opinion that it was not just a mold issue, it was due to wind. And
Right. Had it not been for the storm damage, then we wouldn't have had the mold issue.
Right.
that's correct. So it will probably end up, if it goes as I expect, we'll have a engineering report that we'll have reviewed by Mr. Beckett, and then we may have pursued. But right now, we're funding this out of the building fund. We may get some reimbursement on this.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
The next person is, wait a minute.
No questions.
Okay, now, Ms. Temple?
Yes, this seems like it was more than I remember us approving for payment. Did it turn out to cost more than we were expecting?
Oh, Ms. Temple, I was waiting for that question. What you don't have in your board package is we had to get this done in a very quick manner. So I was given two budgetary estimates by Metro Disaster Specialists. Those budgetary estimates totaled $337,685. So we came in, as you can see, a large, greater than 10% under their budgetary estimate.
Okay.
So that final bill 301 is significantly less than 337.
Okay. And how much is the roof going to be?
The roof is 105,000, I believe, in that neighborhood. The cost of the roof, and that was approved the board meeting before last, I believe.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, the next person is Ms. Walker.
Okay, so
My question.
that answered my question regarding invoice. Thank you.
I couldn't hear all of it. Mr. Hatch, with this $301,000, we did, I explained about the bid. I thought tip always coming if there's not a need for a bid on this amount of money.
Ma'am, this was considered an emergency just due to the sheer amount of mold that was in that wing. And the first step in the process for the mold removal was to get dehumidification instruments in all the classrooms and hallways, as well as air purifiers, so that we could get this going immediately, just due to the sheer amount of mold that was in that wing. So we needed to move on this. We would call it an emergency.
Okay, well, Dr. McGee has the hand up.
Yeah, and also board members, please be mindful. Remember the timing of this. Remember the governor set up the date, the starting date for school was August the 24th. We found this out and it kind of coincided. We didn't act then that we were delayed being able to go back into that building. So it was the timing of all that we needed to try to move on it quick to get that building repaired.
Okay, just to make sure that we're following board policies on purchases or whatever we do, somewhere we need a policy. Is there a policy that we could follow that? Because I know this was an emergency because the timing of the school was destroyed. But still, when we're dealing with money, we always need something in procedure to tell us that we will have guidelines. This is the first time it ever happened to a school like this during a regular session, and I understand what you had to do, but we need to find a policy on that so people will not be looking at us. We're just sitting up writing checks because things are emergency, but there needs to be something in place. And if it isn't anything in place, we need to put something in place. And thank you, Mr. Hatch and you and Mr. Bryant for doing this beautiful thing for Crestwood to let everything, get solved, because it has been very taxing. And I know taking your time for things the way you set up and built all these COVID-19 shields for us, and then with the Crestwood School. But I thank you for all that you've been doing, Mr. Hatch, okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. And Mr. Brian Brown?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Williams, I wanted to state.
Policy on that.
I wanted to state, well, you're correct in that Metro is Tips Taps. They are a Tips Taps company, and we did not have to bid this. Mr. Hatch referenced bids, but we do get multiple bids from time to time, even on Tips Taps purchases, to make sure
I know we do.
We're getting the best price for our buck on that. So Metro,
for instance, with Crestwood's roof, I had two vendors, both of them were Tips Taps, and one vendor came in almost 100,000 more than the current vendor. So
that's why we always use tap though, Tip Tap. That's why we use them, isn't it?
Yeah, we use them because they have participated in the bid process. When it comes down to getting a bid for the specific services we need, we do get multiple bids, even on tips taps. But you don't do a formal bid because it's already been formally bid through the process. So to answer your question, we did follow the policy. The policy says you either have to do a formal bid or use tips taps. We use tips taps. We
Okay,
have multiple bids on that.
thank you very much. And Mr. Hatch, is there anything else that we need to do for Crestwood?
No, ma'am. If I could give you a synopsis of everything that's been done there,
Okay.
from the ground up, this is what we've done.
Okay.
In the crawl space, everything's been cleared out of the crawl space, and a exhaust fan has been installed, and it is humidity controlled. So when the humidity in the crawl space gets to a certain level, that fan will come on and draw air through the crawl space to keep the humidity low, so we don't have any chance of moisture buildup, mold, mildew, or anything in the crawl space. On the south side of the wing, there is a French drain that runs the full length of that wing, so that it will draw water away from that and channel it down through to a ditch that's on the east side of that wing. The whole brick veneer of that building has been sealed with a coating that will prevent any moisture from leaching through the brick and into the interior of that building. And finally, the roof is getting replaced. And basically, it's going to make that wing about as airtight as you can get with a structure. So.
Okay, thank you. Very good. And now all the other schools were covered in Mr. Hatch's previous report when we had things needed done at the academy and other places. All of that has been done. So thank you, Mr. Hatch, for all your work and your services, and Mr. Brown for working with him, keeping the district low, cost saving. And thank you, both of you gentlemen. Okay. Oh, the next is Ms. Ratliff. She's the Executive Director of Federal Program and Professional Development, and Dr. White, who is principal at 7th Street Elementary. You can find their purchase agreements on page 169 and 174. You may begin, Ms. Ratliff and Dr. White. Hello, I see Dr. White. There you are, Ms. Ratliff. Okay.
Hey, Ms. Williams, did I miss that, or did you all formally approve the payment to Metro?
Yeah, you need to have approval.
I think we got to talking about it, but I think we need a formal vote to approve.
Oh, yes.
Metro payment.
We'll go back and vote on that because it's money.
Thank you.
Okay, just board members, can we have a motion to accept the disaster specialist invoice of $301,574,088, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Have a motion?
Madam President, and thank you, Brian, for bringing us back. I move that we accept the Metro invoice submitted on page 168, presented by Brian Brown.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded that we accept the invoice presented by Mr. Brown and Mr. Hatch for the correction of found work on Crestwood Elementary. Those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? None. So the motion is carried. Thank you very much. Now, at this time, Dr. White and Ms. Ratliff going to make a presentation here on Solution 3 purchases on page 169 and 174.
All right. Good evening, Madam President, Dr. McGee, and board members. Dr. White and I here are asked for your approval of the 1003 School Improvement Grant Funds for 7th Street and their partnership with Solution Tree. To let you know a little background, Title I schools are identified, and when they are identified for improvement, they're allocated these funds to close educational gaps through goals of their school improvement and helps with their student performance. DESE has instructed us that these funds are to be used to build capacity of the staff through professional development efforts and the continued efforts of the implementation of the science of reading. So DESE has encouraged work also with Solution Tree for these school improvement efforts. So 7th Street received $149,000 last year in school improvement grants under the 1003. And so last year, due to COVID, they didn't get to complete their summer plans and had $72,563 left remaining that has to be expensed right now, or we will lose those funds. So in addition to that, they also have been allocated for this school year an additional $240,400 for this year to use for school improvement funds. So these funds are set aside separately for that school to use for their school improvement efforts.
Yes.
And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. White so he can explain more about their school's plan in partnership with Solution Tree.
Okay, Dr. White.
Good evening, Madam President.
Good evening.
Board members, Dr. McGee. Well, thank you all for providing me this opportunity to detail a plan that we believe will position 7th Street Elementary for success. I also think it's important that I acknowledge and commend our teachers for their commitment and dedication to the PLC process. And I just want to highlight that over the summer, we had an opportunity to participate in a 2-day training facilitated by Solution Tree. I believe that that training provided a great foundation to the proposed work that we will discuss this evening. You should have the presentation in your packet there. And so the proposed services can be categorized in the 3 sections, so to speak. The first thing that will happen is that Solution Tree will come out and conduct a needs assessment. That needs assessment will last for 2 days. During this time, they will be there to help identify strengths and opportunities for improvement. Description of the service, they will conduct on-site interviews, observations, in addition to reviewing our student achievement data, curriculum guides. They will also look at our master schedule and the grade level schedules. And participants in this phase will pretty much include all parties. So the school leadership, grade level teams, and our guiding coalition, which is essentially our leadership team. The next phase is on-site coaching, and that's for 18 days. And so they will be there to ensure implementation of a system and our processes to address areas detailed in the needs assessment. They will provide guidance and assist with leading the development and implementation of the PLC work in process. They will also create and implement systemic change that results in a focus on student achievement. And they will provide ongoing support that addresses the current challenges, which will be important, that ongoing support, because we anticipate that we will have some hiccups along the way. And just knowing that the consultants are there, we can call upon them and they'll be there to assist. That would be definitely helpful. And the participants, just like with the needs assessment, the school leadership, grade level teams, as well as our guiding coalition will be involved in that process.
Okay.
And then we have the content specific coaching. The purpose of this is to assist teams to improve practices and integrate new practices. So there are 5 areas that we will be able to choose from. It's creating CFAs or CSAs, common formative assessments, common summative assessments in the area of mathematics, our response to intervention program, school culture, and our behavior. And the only participants involved in this process will be the school leadership and the grade level teams. Our guiding coalition members, or the guiding coalition team, is made up of teachers. And so they will receive this training as the grade level teams receive the training, and along with the grade level teams leadership. So expected outcomes. We hope that after going through this process, we can promote a more and have a more collaborative culture. We also hope that this will strengthen academic optimism within the school, more specifically our academic emphasis, and increase our collective teacher advocacy. We hope that we will have enhanced teaching and learning, and we hope to promote a more data-driven decision-making processes. And then we hope for systematic process for addressing deficiencies, not only in literacy, but mathematics. And as we integrate science into the curriculum, science as well. And something Dr. McGee mentioned earlier about the guaranteed and viable curriculum. We hope that these services will put us closer, many steps closer to establishing a guaranteed and viable curriculum. And lastly, the ultimate plan for us is that we just want to be in a position that we will be able to pave a path to realize and sustain student and school-wide success. So that concludes the proposed services, and we just ask that you grant us this opportunity, give us your blessings, so that we can have this partnership with Solution Tree to help move our school forward.
Okay. Ms. Ratliff, you explained to us prior to his statement and yours that these are fundings that are there for the school, and that there are funds that need to be spent expeditiously. And then this is a school that is in dire need of improvement. So therefore, we need another point. You had a part 2 on here. Are you gonna go ahead and go with that, the part that you had PowerPointed, Ms. Ratliff? The Solution Tree proposed service?
That's what he read. That's what Dr. White was reading to you.
Oh, you read it.
Packet. Yes, ma'am. He was explaining that to you, his partnership.
Okay then. Board members, we need a vote, please.
Madam President, I so move that we accept the proposal by Solution Tree.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we accept the tree purchase agreement on page 169 and 174 presented by Ms. Christoph Ratliff and Dr. White. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed? None. Okay, thank you. Thank you both for an excellent report, okay? And Dr. White, we expect to hear good things. And all of that money that you all are receiving, that as you forestated, we're trying to invest in teachers and our students. And I know you will do a tremendous job down there. We will have a celebration, okay?
Yes, ma'am. And thank you, board, for your approval and your consideration.
All right, and thank you, Ms. Ratliff, for your assistance. Okay, at this time, Mr. Williams is bringing us an update. This is nothing we're voting on, but as you recall in our last meeting, we asked him to simply bring us an update, and he has listed down here on the arena security system reconfiguration and the impact. This is merely a report update, and some of us have gotten it because it was placed under business action. That's why it was confusing. So at this time, Mr. Williams should just come and tell us the update, the question that the board had previously asked him to bring. He's now officially bringing it to us. Mr. Williams, you may proceed.
President Williams, board members, Dr. McGee, I was charged with bringing an update on where we are with having a functional alarm system at the high school. And we have been working diligently since we were charged to do that. I've been working on this process for about 3.5 weeks. I met with Andy Anderson, who is in charge of our fire alarm system, animated systems, and helping us with our burglar alarm system, intrusion system. Also met with Kim Martin, who assign codes and work with the alum system. Been meeting with VCS, who is the company who managed the system, and what we have decided and what we're direction we're going in is that what I presented to you is phase one of our high school system, which will allow us to have a functional, people-friendly system that can be utilized by the high school to have a burglar intrusion alarm system throughout the high school. The system that is the grassroots of what we need to do in order for the high school to have a functional burglar alarm system. Now, this is phase one of it because there's a thing that we may have to do when the new superintendent get aboard, but this is going to have to happen no matter who is in that position. And so we looked at roughly about $14,000 rather to get the arena to the point where it can communicate with the high school and have all of them on one system. Right now, we have about 6 different monitoring system and control monitors there. We're moving that into a one system unit so that across the high school, we can set the alarm, reset the alarm, and that's going to help us with all the faulty alarm that we get throughout the district, and also just help our school be a safer place.
Okay. Any questions, board members? None, Ms. Campbell? No. Ms. Huggins, I'm sorry.
No.
Ms. Reddish?
No questions.
Ms. Temple?
No questions.
Ms. Walker? Okay. Dr. Williams, no question. Okay, thank you, Mr. Williams, for your update on the report. Okay, thank you for your time. And we did hear you, and the next time, you explained to me when Dr. Paluski comes in and with Dr. McGee and all of you are working together.
Yes,
you'll
ma'am.
have a final solution for us. And thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Okay, if it's nothing else, board members, we need to go into an employee hearing.
Do we need to do the impact?
That's just a informational item. So, yeah, there you are, Dr. Smith, come in.
Yes, ma'am, Madam President and board members. Tonight, we are going to be having the hearing on a waiver request for Billy Storey, paraprofessional at the North Little Rock Academy. Mr. Storey is here, and he is present in the room with me. Mr. Staggers, if you will go ahead and allow him to be added in.
Did he ask for a close? Oh.
Yeah,
okay, thank you.
Once he gets on, we'll ask.
Okay.
All right, he's joining now.
All right, at this time, I'm going to ask if Mr. Storey would like an open or a closed hearing.
Yes, I'm basically just,
No, sir. Would you like a private or a public hearing?
all private.
He would like a private hearing, Madam President. So, Mr. Staggers, if you would put us in that position, please.
All right, will do. I'm going to stop the recording and the live, and I will put everyone for the hearing in the breakout room.
Thank you.